Hi, so we've got Nicole. How are you, Nicole? Welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show. Where are you from?
Hi Stephen, I'm from India.
Yeah, nice to meet you. And what do you do, Nicole?
I work in an IT company.
Oh, cool. What IT company you work in, and what's your role at the IT company?
Currently, I'm working with business app development.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you iOS developer or Android developer?
No, not any of them. It's you might have heard about Power Platform.
I think so. Might have been a while ago.
hmm
But
there's an thing called Power Apps in that by Microsoft.
yes, that sounds familiar. And you're a full-time employee or part-time?
No, I'm full-time employee.
And so you're working, do you do the 9 to 5 or do you do night shift?
No, like 6:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening. My timings are like that.
Wow, that's a long that's an early start.
Yeah. What
Nah,
do you do, Stephen?
entrepreneur, YouTuber, podcaster, got
Oh,
music, Spotify, very creative, um, and that's what I do, and I love
same
it.
page, same page. I also have an YouTube channel and recently 2 weeks back launched a podcast on Spotify.
Oh, good on you, man. Spotify's awesome to launch a podcast. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to check out my YouTube channel, you can subscribe and you get new videos every Friday. You can just go to my bio and it's all
Yeah, Shiels Productions, right?
Shiels Productions. You on an Android or an iPhone?
Yeah, I'm on Android.
Yeah, you just go to my bio and you can
Yeah, I increased your subscriber.
feel free to comment on the videos too. I'm happy to answer questions that you like, or if you have a topic that you want me to cover, I'll cover it on YouTube.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, no, it's like IT is a very growing industry.
Yeah, right, right. But
It's
I'm not quite a coder or a programmer.
yeah, I tried to do coding and programming. It was very bad with Python. Oh my god, I
Ah,
I just used to get this rotten headache. I don't know how people can do it. Code. Ugh.
yeah. So currently I'm doing it until I find something else to do.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it, if I may ask?
Sorry?
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, like coding and all these things.
Yeah.
Not much, not much.
Do you get like a lot of syntax errors that you got to fix?
Yeah, a lot of syntax errors.
Oh, they're the worst. It's like you get like HTML5, right? And you got CSS and JavaScript out there.
Yeah.
I can see we've got Kibati in the audience as well. I think I've had Kibati on the podcast as well. Hello, Kibati, you there?
Hi, sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Hi. I said
Yeah,
it's been a minute. How
welcome
are
back.
you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yes, hello everyone.
Yes. Hi. So, what do you do, Kibati?
Sorry, what did you say?
What do you do for your career?
I work in an accounting firm and I help with I'm in the accounting department. So I help
Um,
help with doing accounts and stuff like that.
understand. I think I had you on the podcast last time. You're a podcaster, were you?
Yes, that's right. My podcast is based on Christian lifestyle, so it's mainly Christian focused, and I just discuss on just topics, just navigating life, but from a Christian perspective. And
No,
that's my podcast. It's called My Self Portrait.
no, good on you for that. Put a link in the chat so the audience can check.
Is chat working? Is it
Yeah,
working now? No. Not for Androiders. We are
still,
still lagging behind.
Yeah, not for Android.
still behind. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just I don't know if you know, Steve or Nicole, Clubhouse is now open to everybody, so it's not invite only app. So if
Yeah.
it's something that you also wanted to explore at some point, now you can,
But
because it
Yeah.
made everybody.
I'm on Clubhouse, but I can't record a podcast on Clubhouse.
No, you can't. But I think it's just to see what the app is saying, the kinds of people that you may meet, because there's a chance that there is an overflow of people between that go between rooms or go between apps, but also I don't know, you may network and find other people, and so it's just to see what it's like on the app, because I know the last time that we were talking about this, it was invite only. Then they
Yeah,
only allowed Android, so it was invite only for a very, very, very long time. And
yeah,
then they allowed
It's
Android users
still,
only.
yeah.
yeah, it's still like that. In you can, go there through invite only. And I'm a
It's
regular
definitely
user of
open now.
Clubhouse as well.
It's open to everybody. They did that like a couple of days ago. It's open to everybody.
Oh, no idea about that.
Yeah,
Because
so that's a very,
I
very recent move.
I got invited
Hmm.
to Clubhouse, but I can't find any good rooms. It's too intimidating. I like Greenroom better.
Is it in terms of I think that that's the thing. I think with Clubhouse is that there are lots of big rooms. There are
Uh,
lots of rooms. You can start I haven't started a room yet, to be honest, but I get what you're saying, where there are lots. So it depends what your vibe is. If you want to, obviously with a smaller room, you feel that you can speak and that, you can connect with people more. But there's some rooms I go in that are just really huge, and I just
uh,
go in to listen. I actually go in to listen, and then I find out about people, what they're doing, and I may then, follow them and then see if they're in other rooms. But yeah, I get what you mean, and I think it's one of those things where it's like you've come into a space that already existed, and there's an ecosystem, there's a way of life, there's a way of doing things already, and it's like I don't know where I fit in here. So I completely understand that. And I think, yeah, so Green Room, I think, is still new in that essence where there is a way to carve something for yourself. I'm still debating whether to host a room even in Green Room. I haven't
do it.
done it yet.
Yeah, I'll definitely join. Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So again, is that intimidating? And I think it's not so much are people gonna show up, because it's a new room. I think there is a chance that nobody will show up, but there's also a chance that one or two people may show up. I think it's easy to really get caught up in the numbers and the likes and just all the things. And obviously on Clubhouse, what you will find as well, and I think it's because it was obviously open to the US at first, I think. So
Yeah.
again, there's a whole ecosystem, and then you go into rooms and people are like, "Oh yeah, I met such and such," and it's almost like they're like celebrities on Clubhouse, and it's like this is a social media app, guys. This is not real life, okay? But at the
Yeah.
same time, there's that sort of mindset, like, "Oh yeah, I'm really big on Clubhouse," and it's like, okay, whatever you say, yeah. But I get what you're saying. I don't know what anyone else's thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I'm
What?
still waiting here on Green Room for the feature where we can, link our social media accounts for Android.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, still waiting, and I think actually on Clubhouse, what they've done recently, um, I think this is only US only though. People can pay people on Clubhouse.
Okay.
So obviously a lot of people there are lots of people who get paid on Clubhouse, not necessarily
Yeah.
by Clubhouse, but obviously through the work that they do, and they take it out of Clubhouse into whatever, whether it's I don't know, mentors. You find a lot of mentors and coaches and all kinds of people like that on Clubhouse. But I think there's a way now where people actually in the app can
Right.
um can pay people, but I think it's only US only. And I mean, obviously, like here, where you can link in your socials, you can link in your Instagram, and then they introduce something called back channel, which is basically similar to discussion, I think. Um, but yeah, so like they've definitely made a few changes since since Green Room is open. But as you said, it's knowing which you want to deploy or which you want to use for yourself and which you like as well, which you feel comfortable with. Clubhouse definitely has, I think Clubhouse still has more rooms than Green Room because of the way Green Room orders the categories and stuff like that, but it's different. So and it's still relatively new, definitely. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd let you guys know as well if you are vaguely interested in going into looking at what Clubhouse has to offer. But yeah, it's definitely a way people are definitely using uh both to make money.
Mm.
Yeah, I hopefully Green Room will allow content creators outside of the US to get monetized as US based. It's like Anchor sponsorships. I'm hoping that because I'm in Australia, hopefully. Have you got sponsorships on your podcast, Kibati?
No, I know. And it's because uh, so again, a lot of the rooms I've been into, like whether it's yeah, I've been in all kinds of rooms. A lot of them talk about podcasting, and some of the rooms I've been in, and they say it's great to use Anchor, but if you can move away, and obviously get a paid a paid um, hosting service where you can monitor your stats properly, and it may put you in a position to then leverage and say this, like reaching out to people or reaching out to companies if you're seeking sponsorship, because then you have something to show. I don't know if you find on Anchor that you understand the stats or if you care about the stats at all, if
Oh,
it means anything to you.
Kibati, like I was with my old host podcasting distributor called Spreaker, and
Okay.
they'll charge me bucks a month to get monetized, but I wasn't making that money back, so I had to think from a business point of view.
Yeah.
I,
Anchor actually does allow you to monetize, but you
yeah,
have to be in the US. So everything is US based. So the only other way, obviously, I guess, is to seek sponsorship elsewhere. But I think it's how you position yourself, if that's something that you want to do. But it all boils down to who's listening to your stuff, and whether they find whether they will take on to those sponsorships as well. But there's no harm in giving it a try. So for me personally, to answer the long and short of your of your question, no, I'm not doing sponsorships yet. And that'll be something that I would obviously need. I would have to reach out to people and say, I don't know,
I,
give me something to sponsor, and I could talk
I've
about it.
I've had my first paid sponsor, and I was very happy, and I was very thankful
That's
for.
amazing.
You know, the problem
Congratulations on that. How did you do that?
I went for a site called Podcorn, so you can pitch to sponsors for free, and they just take say I think they take 10% commission, so at least it's not costing me money.
Yeah.
Like Spreaker, they you can get monetized and put the mid rolls in, but if you're not a huge podcast, like my show is only a year old, there's no way
Same. Same.
I'm going to get the leverage on Spreaker.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I get what you, and I think to be fair, that's what's put me off at the moment on being on a paid platform. It's the
Uh,
same it's the same as if you are I don't know, you're a small online business. You gotta leverage it because you're thinking, I'm paying for this on the back end, but if I'm not getting the sales on the front end, then how do I basically, yeah, I'm paying out of my pocket, but for how long do I keep paying out of my pocket? At which point do I say enough is enough?
well, you gotta learn. You gotta learn the hard way in the first year. You know, we learned. A Spreak is well known. Like they got
Yeah,
free
so,
up to
yeah,
a certain amount, but then yeah, you know, I just
yeah,
find
but that's really good. That you obviously you position yourself. That's what I'm saying. Positioning yourself to reach out to people, and then they contacted you, and then do they pay you based on sales or just talking about the company or talking about whatever, and then do they
but
listen back? Like, how does it work?
if you're gonna negotiate with a sponsor, you negotiate a price. So say 4 episodes, you might negotiate. I don't know,
Whatever.
$20 an episode or 40 for the whole thing. Whatever
Okay.
there is, take what you can, even if it's $10 for a show. Just take it.
So do they ask you anything about your like obviously your show, like how many listeners, like what kind of questions do they ask you?
Oh, they'll ask me about my listeners. They'll ask me what my show is. Obviously, it's a radio show like we're doing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And be honest with them. Don't bullshit them.
Yeah.
Show stats. Because I can only get my stats from Anchor, and they're only going by Spotify. Although my podcast,
Oh. Well, that's the thing. So yeah. So they go by Spotify as opposed to Anchor. But Anchor is owned by Spotify, so should be one and the same, right?
whereas if my old distributor Spreak, I could see where the downloads were coming from: Apple, Deezer, Radio
Yeah.
Car. But you can't expect a podcast in the first year to hit 1 million downloads. No way. You
No
can't.
way. Like you said, unless you were already like a big brand, and then like you've then moved into podcasting, as you said, and then like so as you said, then people already, if you're already known and established. But if you're not, like you said, like you're just a newbie, you're right. Like for people to, for you to have that, I mean, that's incredible. But as you said, that doesn't always happen.
I know. No, don't get your hopes up too high as well with sponsors.
No, but as you said, I think it's one of those things where it's an opportunity. One thing leads to another, right? And I think it's one of those things where there are people who are, that's what I'm saying, with all these different avenues, there are people who are making money. That's the same way we speak about influencers.
Yeah,
And you think how they're making money. There's money to be made out here using these tools. So
yeah,
it's just how you leverage it and where you start and where you end up are always two different levels, right? But you
yeah.
got to start somewhere. So
yeah.
if you're, as you said, if you're brand new in the space and you're trying to be asking for a brand, and that's the thing, I think there's lots of things at play. Because yes, as yourself, you're a brand, but how you position yourself. If you're trying to ask for 10,000 whatever currency, and that's a lot, and they're like, we can't see, you're just brand new, like, we can't give you that. But this is what we can give you if you're trying to position yourself way up there amongst other like big creators when you're not in that space yet. It's like, okay, well, we'll just move on. So they know what they're getting, and it's a transaction. But yeah, it's awesome. That's good news to hear.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Kibati, is it's entrepreneurship as well. I
Mm.
mean, it takes time. It's not a get rich quick scheme to be an entrepreneur. Nothing happens overnight. I can tell you that.
No. Yeah. we wish it doesn't happen overnight, but it's to keep going. And that's, I think, with podcasting, and I think with anything, especially with podcasting, where you're talking, like you're pouring out, you're talking a lot, and whether it's a show or whether it's solo, whether it's interviews, and sometimes like you're talking to yourself because you can't you can't connect with the people on the other side who are listening.
Mm.
So it's trying to get that aspect as well, of connecting with those who are listening to you.
Exactly. But tell me a bit more about yourself. So you're an accountant, are you?
So I would not an accountant yet. Probably more bookkeeping, payroll, finance. That's kind of what I do, and that's where I get my bread. But I'm a person who has various interests, like many other people, and podcasting is one of them. And I took that up last year during the pandemic. To be fair, it's something that I'd always, not always, but I wanted to do for a long time, and I just put in the back burner, and then you that start to ask yourself, is anyone who's gonna listen? Where do I start? How do I don't know. And so when you get caught in those questions, they just get a lot, and then you just put it to the side. But I don't know, sometime last year I just thought I need to look into it. How do I actually start one? And then Anchor came up, and I was like, wait, so there's a place where I can just record, just do everything I need to do in one place and just push send. That sounds amazing, because I'm like, I don't know anything about, like, I don't know about a microphone, I don't know about equipment I need, and because it's so new, and sometimes when it's new, yeah, you do get the zeal and you get all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not monetized. Well, in looking into it, I realized that you can monetize, but I'm like, I just want to get started. So, I just started talking from where I was at that point, and just reflecting. And, because my faith is so important to me, it just merged, just became, it wasn't just my thoughts, because my thoughts, yeah, because it's, so ingrained with my faith. The two it just came together, and the more I did it consistently, the more I stopped feeling weird about it. Like just talking, I'm talking into my phone, I'm talking into space, and then I found out that there was someone that was trying to um, like connect podcasters who are from the African diaspora, which I am, from Africa originally. And so I just connected my podcast there. So, it opened me up to a bit more listeners. But, like I said, I realized over the last few months, or since I started, or from 2020, that engaging with, people that's where I'm trying to bridge that gap, because I know that people are listening. Um, but yeah, I can't really connect with them. So, and that's weird. And I think, yeah, so that's where I'm at, and that's what I've been doing for the last year. Just, it started off as a solo project because obviously, I was someone that I wanted to do it, and I just wanted to get going rather than trying to find, oh, who else would be interested? And then it's like, well, we can't really see each other because of lockdown. So how are we going to do it? That would just add extra layers of things that could be a stumbling block, and that would just not allow you to just do it. So I just carried on. And that's where I'm at a year later.
Here's a funny thing. When I was starting Shiels Productions, I was trying to do me bookkeeping. I hated it. Oh,
What did you hate about it?
like just keeping track of the expenses, and
Yeah.
it was really throwing me off my creative side. So I think one day, as I get more funds, I'll just hire an accountant to do that. Can't do it yourself, because if you muck it up, you can get in a lot of trouble, can you?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. I think that's the thing. I think with a lot of jobs that require attention to detail,
Oh,
obviously it does take a lot of like mental capacity, mental thinking. You got focus.
Yeah.
And that kind of focus is, I mean, you realize in life, and maybe it's just, I don't know, being an adult now, that sometimes you can have a focus in your life in one area, and other areas you're just not as focused. And so obviously with the job, maybe it's because also there's an incentive of payment, but um I found that, and I think over the last year, I feel like the world has just gone through this change of we wanna change up our lives. We don't want to do status quo anymore. We've done that for a long time, and for me, that's what 2020 brought me. I'm so grateful that I've got my health, I got my mind, um, but it just made me think I want more out of life. I don't want to do the status quo anymore. And so that's why podcasting, it was a great way to get through what was going through in my mind, the good days and the bad days, and just get consistent and get creative. As you said, sometimes you can get caught in just your everyday life and you can forget about some of the things that make you happy, some of the things that make you, as you said, like give you that um, creative flow. And actually, one of the things that I found really exciting to do was TikTok. I discovered TikTok last year. I was one of the millennials who got into TikTok, and unfortunately, the what do they call the newer generation, Gen Z, must have been thinking, "Oh no, not these people again." But it's another way to just get creative and just get out of yourself. So yeah, that's why I like podcasting. I really do. I want to invest in equipment, not crazy investment. Mind, I'm not talking thousands and thousands yet, but these are some of the things I've learned just listening in rooms in and Clubhouse about different equipment. And if you don't have that, so I'm like my microphone or whatever setup you want to use. Yeah, just starting small, and it's the same everywhere, whether it's YouTube or whatever it is. Start small, and as you get confident, as you grow, then you can scale up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what about you? Outside of podcasting, what does Stephen Shiels do?
YouTuber. So my goal is to get, the million subscriber plaque and, make a living off.
Ooh,
Have you seen my YouTube channel?
I haven't yet. I
If
haven't
you go,
yet.
if you go to my bio and if you
Okay.
subscribe, you get new videos every Friday on music.
Okay. Are your YouTube videos, are they an extension of your podcast, like a video version of your podcast, or do you do
Yeah,
other things?
I do some video, well, you could say video casts of musicians who come on my show, so I'll put them on my channel.
Oh, are you a musician yourself?
Yes,
Ooh, okay. What does Stephen play?
I played the clarinet,
Wow.
I did sight singing in my undergraduate degree. I did tiny bit of
Wow.
keyboard, orchestration. As you know, I compose for an orchestra as well, electronic music. So I have a bachelor of music.
Ooh, wow. Would you, well, I guess that means that you do have your own music. I'm assuming you must have your own, and
Oh yeah,
actually you did mention that. You did. You put it on, SoundCloud, didn't you? It was a bit political. I think you'd mentioned that in a previous conversation. So I remember that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
See if you can find my YouTube channel.
Um, yeah, give me a sec. Where is it? Discussion. It's in the. I can't even click. So let me click. Let me go on your bio then. No, I don't want to leave the room. Backstage. Let me click on your bio and do it that way then.
What do you think of my Superman avatar as well?
Oh,
Look,
I was like, hey, the guy has changed up his avatar. Loving it. I was like, hey, very cool. Very, very cool. One of your artsy friends did this, or you commissioned someone?
I did it myself with an emoji app.
Hey, look at that with the glasses, everything, and the spiky hair. I'm like, hey, it's really cool. It's really cool. I was like, all right. He's switching up. He's switching it up.
Yeah.
I like that. Yes. Okay. Um, okay. Yep, I'm on YouTube. I will just subscribe. Cool. Yeah, okay, and then yeah, so I think so again, I mean you're doing quite a bit. I mean, so did you start YouTube first or did you start podcasting first?
Started YouTube first, and
Okay.
actually, well, beginning of the pandemic is when I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go publish it, everything on Spotify, overcome fear, and put on YouTube." So,
Yeah, see, so that's what I'm saying. The pandemic made us think about different things that we may have wanted to do, and we just say, you know what, we're just gonna do it now. Like they
I
were just gonna do it now. I love that. Um,
thought about
I thought of
podcast,
one. Sorry,
but
go on.
what was I going to talk about? But Kibati, and I just said, look, it was November 2020. I thought I'll just do a radio show, and it
Hmm.
actually felt great.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing. I think, and for me, I've wanted to do YouTube for a while, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'll do. So I'm sure there may be some YouTube in the future. When, I don't know. But, I thought podcasting, I enjoy it, and, I think I haven't gotten to the extent of, video casting. That's next level. I could, but it won't be video. It would just be either a picture or some kind of moving image or something that while I speak, because there's that other option as well to do that. And it means I could reach people in a different way. Yeah. So it's just connecting it in that way. Because I'm not quite ready for video setup.
Yeah, and just be yourself. That's all you can do. Just be
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Trying to be someone else can be tiring,
Oh
exhausting
yeah,
even.
don't and just produce the best work that you can do is the
Yeah,
main, and
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. It takes time. I think that's one of the things as well. It takes time to do these things, and so when you put in your effort, even to record a podcast, and I know, and that's the thing. I've met people on Clubhouse who record. You know, they have a whole Um, they have a whole schedule in advance. I'm like, wow, I'm not quite there yet. But I will get there. And just, as you said, planning, preparing, and, producing the very, very best that you can do is key. Cause then people who are watching or listening, they get a sense that, okay, this is like a good cooked meal, you know? It's not like they just put stuff together and it's just here you go, take this. So yeah,
See, I'm looking for a clubhouse now. They got like you can DM people.
yeah. So there's some that's the back channel I was talking about. That they brought out not long ago,
Yeah.
and I'm not quite sure how it works. So I thought that it was for moderators in a
Mhm.
room, and so they could communicate because. From what I understood, for people who were moderating rooms, if they needed to, especially where it's rooms where there's like 500 people or even 150 people, and they have quite a few moderators. Sometimes there are rooms like that. But if they're trying to, and I guess where there's many moderators, if they're all over the place and maybe the main moderator, the person who's like resetting the room or talking a lot or just carrying the room has to leave for whatever reason, it's too late at night or, they have to go or whatever, they had to communicate. Either they speak out in the room, can anyone take over? Or they used to like DM each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, and just sort of communicate that way, stuff amongst themselves. So I assume that back channel means that they can obviously do that, but it looks like it's also open to like people who may be in the listening lounge or even if they're on stage talking, if they want to DM someone into the room. I'm not quite sure how back channel works, to be honest, but it's available now. So it looks like you can DM people on Clubhouse. It's just called back channel. So that's interesting as well.
Well, I'm just
Um,
looking on
yeah, so
Facebook
go on.
Facebook Messenger. They got they got a video chat.
Yeah, Facebook, I think, so apparently Facebook is also trying to launch its own sort of audio thing and Twitter as well. And I
Uh,
think Messenger has had video chat for a while, but it was obviously like if you can call someone audio, then you can video chat as well. And I think, is it Facebook? Facebook also has this thing called Rooms, which is
yeah.
which is different from this audio thing. I think only it's like I don't know, like a group call. Um, I don't know. Again, I've never really used these things, but um, and I don't think they really advertise it well either. I think I find that Facebook is a bit glitchy.
Mm.
They bring out a lot of stuff, and I think it's quite glitchy. But yeah, there's lots of tools and ways to be able to connect with people. But
Facebook, they just want to be like the be all end all. They want to do everything, but there's some stuff I'm not happy with Facebook, and
um,
you know anything. I like Instagram more.
well, they on Instagram too. So as you said, they on Instagram, they on WhatsApp, they own, is it the conversation? They own quite a few things. But yeah, I think they keep I think Facebook keeps changing things often, and um yeah, Instagram, I'm still trying to get to grips with that as well.
Instagram's okay, but see, as an entrepreneur and an online business, I've got an app timer on the iPhone that only has a timer of 10 minutes on social media, and that's it. And it's
Okay.
very good, you know.
Hmm.
Jesse Gonzalez is in the room. How are you, Jesse?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Yeah, good. I like your avatar photo. How's things going
Oh,
with you?
yeah, I changed it last night. Yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning over here in
Uh,
uh, in Michigan, and I'm actually on my way to a men's group that I go to Saturday mornings. But I wanted to stop by and say hi to you. I've never been to your room, Steven, so I just want to say hello.
yeah, you're always welcome in the room, Jesse. And you
Hi,
know,
Jesse. I think I've experienced you in another room, Jesse. Um, I think it may have been in Lily's room, and you played a beautiful piece. You
Oh,
may have done
thank
that
you.
more than one occasion, but I think it is you.
It is.
It
Thank
is
you.
amazing. Very, very nice to speak to you today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. You guys have a great day today.
yeah, you too.
Yes, you too.
Yeah, but yeah, Kabadhi and Jesse, you got to minimize how often you're on these social medias. For your mental health
Yeah.
is very important, and especially as content creators. That's why, like, I'm sure Android would have a thing in the settings where you can put a timer on any app? Because iPhone. But
Probably. Yeah. 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 And it's just me being disciplined as well. So like you said, like I think, you can, as a content creator, like if trying to use all these different tools, um, you can find that you are spending a lot of time on it. But I think and you think, yeah, it is to put out content, right? But you need, you need to take those breaks and those times away. And I think it's important to manage the time properly so that you can still do what you're doing and then not get burnt out or
mm,
lose your time or just, yeah, because time goes so quickly, things you want to do. One of the things that I find really, it intrigues me, like on Clubhouse, you find there are people who spend like a lot of time, hours on hours. And I'm like, wow, and yes, you know, they're pouring in, they're giving value and, probably the same here on Greenroom actually, spending a lot of time being able to either give advice or whatever it is that they're doing. But I'm talking 6 hour stretches
oh
at
my
a
god,
time. The
no.
people were spending a lot of time. So I'm like, wow. And they're just talking and talking or listening and talking and jumping from room to room. And I know this because I may have come on in the morning, maybe just to see what rooms are there. Nothing. Okay, I go away. And then I come back a few hours later and they're still there. And I'm like, wow. Or even in a room, they could be like, yeah, you listen in a listening lounge and they're like, yes, I've been talking. I've been here for like the last 4 hours. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I don't have the time to do that. I just don't. But
Time
kudos to them.
is when you go on when you're having fun.
There is that, but I think I need my rest. I need my sleep, and for someone like me who does a regular 9 to 5, that is not something that I want to be doing. I can't function properly doing that regularly. Is one thing, and this is one thing to listen for 4 or 5 hours straight because you can listen and do work. But if you are the one who is moderating the room for such a long time, you don't really have time for a break. Like you're constantly, keeping the room going, and you need to be upbeat as well. So that takes a lot of work, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I mean, like, like you when you do your bookkeeping and accounting, do you put like an audio book on or music?
Sometimes I just have YouTube playing, whatever. Audiobooks, no, because I was talking about this with a colleague actually. I don't think audiobooks are for me because I used to do that with the Bible when I try and listen to the Bible and try and do other things. But what I found actually, I'm not taking in anything. If
Mm,
I'm trying to make coffee, trying to make my bed, trying to do other things, and my mind is focused on other things, I'm not actually paying attention. I'm not listening.
mm.
So the only way maybe an audiobook would work is if I'm not doing anything else. So maybe I'm out on a walk. But if I'm trying to concentrate on something else, um, sometimes it's difficult. I tend to more listen to music or sounds because then at least there's something in the background and it's not, it's not, I'm not trying to use my brain to listen and to think at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's with audiobooks. I mean, if I'm mentally tired, I'll put an audiobook on, probably from Audible, although I've cancelled my subscription because
Mm, yeah.
getting. You know that they put the prices up because of the tax.
Really? Well, I'm not surprised. They probably try and get you in with a lower price, but you see, that's another thing that I find with subscription services, where
Oh,
they get you with a good price or it's free, and you think, oh yeah, okay, I'll try it for 30 days, then I'll cancel it. But there's a chance that you forget, and then you think 3 months have gone by, and you think, oh, I still have anything. Oh, it's only 6.99. All right then. And then before you know, a year on, it's like, wait, it's gone to 7, 8, 99, 8.99. You think,
Yeah,
when did it go up? And I'm not even using it.
I mean,
So yeah.
Spotify do the same thing. I mean, I got the 3 month. I paid about $12 for 3 months, but then yeah, I'm happy with Spotify, but that's about it.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
use Netflix because it's just, or any of these online courses like I think there was Wondrium, formerly known as Great Courses Plus. It's just binge learning. You're not retaining it. I wasn't
I
retaining
like
it.
yeah, I like the idea of learning, but as you said, if it's not being applied, that's where there's a problem. So I guess it depends what it is you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that's just it. It's the application. Otherwise, you're just forever learning and not applying. And I think there's lots of information out there, lots and lots and lots of information about different things. So as you said, it's and yes, are um people are keen on free content. But at some point, even with the free content, and I think that's why even with Clubhouse, like I can go into rooms where I can learn so much, but you just become just you just take in all this stuff and you think, wait, how am I applying it? You can
Yeah.
have information overload, and without application, you're
Oh,
just
that's
receiving knowledge.
and that's like the great. Well, Wondrium is the new name. They have the academic professors who are lecturing in an academic voice for half an hour straight on video. You can't retain it.
No, no. But you see, I think perhaps when it's paid, it's something that you put. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say when you paid, maybe you feel a bit more that you have to. But actually, I find that it depends because at the same time, I mean, we waste money often, and sometimes it takes
Mm.
a reality check to be like, nah, I need to stop this. Like, whether it's gym subscriptions, as you said, whether it's apps that we pay for that we don't even use anymore, or whatever, it's very easy um to spend money. So you can spend money on a course, but I think a part of me thinks if it's a bit of a high ticket course, you're gonna sit up and pay attention because it's like I've just invested in this. So, and I think sometimes some things are slow learning. Like if it's a course on, I don't know, property and investments, and it's something you're interested in, but you want to know how to, at least it's evergreen content. So it's stuff that you've got it now, and maybe you're in the process of trying to put money together, or you just want to know what the industry says so that you have that information to be able to apply it when needed. But
But the thing with property is, how do you get the money to start off with? That's the thing.
I don't
That's
know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It must depend on I don't know. Maybe I think capital if it's obviously if it's with I think if you're doing it with friends that you trust, friends that are of the same mind, as in if you're going to be borrowing money with a friend who's not good with money, that's a recipe for disaster, I think. But if you have a group of friends, even if it's two or three, and you're like, I don't know, we can borrow money, and you trust them with money, and they're trying to do it for business. I don't know. And then get into it. And I guess different countries have different rules about buying houses, and different schemes depending on what the government offers. So I don't know. I don't own a house, but I'm just saying that there's some content that's evergreen. But I know obviously you can get on the property ladder. If you earn a bit more money, then you can get on the property ladder a bit faster. Otherwise, you got to be creative. Move back home. I don't know. Live a minimalist life. I don't know. Scrimp and scrape. I don't know.
Kibati. There's nothing wrong with renting. I'll be honest with you. But the problem like Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, he tries to tell people get into real estate, but how can you if you don't have the money to start with, or you're going to have a lot of debt in the beginning in real estate?
Well,
And
that's
that's the
what I
problem.
said. I mean, so that's why I said if you have the money to spend, if you're earning a certain amount of money that can afford you to save for a deposit, then by all means go into it. But I've realized now that because there's obviously because of the time we live in and the generation that we are in, there's a pressure to do all these things when you're younger that people in their 50s, 60s were enjoying when we were younger. So
Yeah.
you get people who are in their 20s and want to be a millionaire by 30, and it's like, listen, um, those millionaires that we aspire to, they're in their 50s. And yeah, some of it is fluke, but a lot of hard work. So to buy a property, you don't have to buy in your 20s. You don't have to buy it in your 30s if you don't have it. If you can buy in your 40s, 50s after you've earned a bit of money and you can do it, by all means do it. But if you can't, you just continue to rent, as you said. You got a roof over your head. But if there are, that's what I'm saying. Like what I say to young people, younger people, because I'm still young myself, is that listen, live at home as much as you can where it's safe and you can do so, earn a bit of money, and learn the value of money. Because when you get out there, a lot of people want to run with their friends and want to, but it's like, if you can, if you can earn a bit of money when you're younger and start saving, you can do it. And if it's just a one property and by the time you reach a certain age and you're earning where you're not studying and trying to earn money at the same time, where you can earn full time, then it's good because obviously there are people who earn less money who can do great things, I think. But as you said, the pressure, you don't putting that pressure on yourself is unnecessary. Like, who are you doing it for? Like, what's the rush?
Here's the
Um,
thing in Australia, Kabadi, this is what's called the Australian dream, where a couple gets married, both working a full-time job for starters, get a mortgage for a house, and they're paying that thing off for 40 years of their life. And they have kids. That's what we're being conditioned in our school system.
mhm.
And you've got to become what we're taught in school. You got to become a doctor or a lawyer or
Or engineer. Yeah. Which those professions said nothing wrong with those, and they earn quite a bit of money, but yeah, they also work really long hours too. Um, and I think, as you said, I think the society sometimes is based on credit. You live your life on credit, but actually, you live your life on credit, then you're always in debt. And I think, as you said, even with a mortgage, it's like I'm sure there are ways that you can do it and not have to be like in debt for a very long time. Because you said 40 years is a long time in your life, but there are people who, like I said, I think it's just finding the creative ways. And sometimes you make mistakes if it's something you don't know, right? As you said,
yeah.
even when you said like with podcasting and you were on a paid platform and then you moved. So some things, yeah, you will make mistakes along the way, but um, slow and steady, I think. But also, it's knowing that you don't have to try and own your house at 22 if you can, and you're not like I don't know, you're not what's what I'm looking for. You're not in deficit, like you're struggling. Then there's a problem because chances are that house is going to be taken away from you. But as you said, like um the dream of two people like trying to buy a house is difficult when you're a single person trying to buy a house, unless I don't know, you come into some money with inheritance, but it's not easy. So that's why I said pace yourself, and
The
when the chance is available, do it.
the old generation, it was expected to go and own your own home, but the world's changed, Kabadi. The housing prices are just, oh my god.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I said if you can, you do it. And if you can't, it's okay too. It's okay too. There are countries where instead of buying a house, I guess you can, yeah, you can build your own. But as I said, it's when you have the capacity to do so. There's no point trying to stress and struggle now. You can't do it. I get why you want to own your own place. I understand that. It's a legacy. Owning your own home is for legacy. It's whether it's for you or for kids if you have, or for family. It's legacy. I understand it. I get the reasoning behind it. But only as and when you can do it, and it's doing it smart, because some people, what they can do and what they end up doing is, they own multiple properties, and they rent one out, and then they're paying off one with the other. So it can be done. Many people are doing it, but like I said, it's if it's a it's one of those things that is risky, as you said, because property prices, they dip and then they rise as well over time. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The banks don't care. They don't want you to pay your house off. I can tell you that.
Well, that's why, yeah. And so even there are people, I think, even so, like, they give you 40 years, for instance, to pay off your mortgage. But if you know that you save more, you pay more, um, than the norm than what is stipulated, because it's like a rent, right? But that's the thing, as you said, like, it depends how you are with money, because if you're someone that, just with a standard credit card, you have I don't know, you have a limit, and you're like, oh, I have X amount of time, where it's interest free before they start, charging extra interest. I would be someone that would be like, I want to pay off as soon as possible, way before, way before the 6 month interest free time, because I don't like debt. But if you're not good with money, or if you're not clued up to these things sometimes, right? Because, like I said, there are people who, yeah, the bank wants you to spend the rest of your life trying to pay this off, but you don't necessarily have to. There's ways around that. But if you don't know, then you just keep, you're gonna be paying that. It's a lot of money for 40 years. Many of us don't stay in the same job even for up to 6 years. So to
No.
have that, to have that for 40 years is like, wow, it's like a ball and chain. But is
Is
it
it
a good
like that?
ball and chain?
Okay? Is it a similar situation?
Come again?
Is it a similar situation in the UK where
Um,
bank?
from what I understand, yeah. So you pay, like, what the government tries to do is, I think it used to be you have to pay a 15 or 20% deposit, meaning 20% of
Mm,
what the price of the house is. But then they have different schemes where, okay, the government, is like, maybe you pay 10%, and then the government takes 90% or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but if it's government owning most of it, then is it still really yours? I don't fully understand those schemes though, but they're trying to obviously get a lot of first time buyers, and um, excuse me, what you find as well is that some, obviously, if it's newer built homes, are they as sturdy as the old ones? So there's all these different things, but as you said, borrowing from the bank, it's yeah, you still gotta, obviously, you still gotta raise the initial deposit. Whether, I think there may be a government scheme where you raise only 5%, and then they try to have like saving schemes where you pay a certain amount in every month, and then when you're ready to buy, the government puts in, I don't know, but then COVID hit, and that interest rate went right down to like 1% or something, and it's like, really? So
well,
it just it just wasn't worth it. So Yeah, so those are the sort of schemes they have in the UK. But as I said, if your earning potential is not a lot, then it's gonna take you longer to be able to raise some kind of deposit. Given the fact that you're already renting and you got bills and you may have, you're trying to live your life, So it swings and roundabouts. If it's either you live with people to save money, or you move in to your parents' house if that's something you can do, or you live with other people, rent and live with other people to keep your costs down.
See,
I don't know. Yeah.
what Robert Kiyosaki should have said in Cash Flow Quadrant and Rich Dad Poor Dad, what you just told me. He didn't explain it properly. He only told you what you want to hear about real estate, not what you don't want to hear.
Yeah. Maybe it's and these things change over time, but maybe it's because what you need to hear is, I don't know. I know. I was gonna say what you need to hear is the push you need, but that's why you need to look into things a bit more and ask the questions and ask people. I don't like using that term research. When people say research, I'm like, are you really researching? You didn't research. You looked up a couple of Google websites. Research. People who research are digging for info. They dig till they can't dig anymore. So all I say is just investigate. I would say investigate. But I would say I don't know. Investigate when you're ready. Like I said, I'm not in a position, and I know I'm not in a position right now, but I can investigate a little. Because there may be people around me who are buying properties, and then I can look at how they're doing it. Because chances are your situations may be a bit different. And what people don't tell you as well, after you've raised the deposit, you got to pay for all these different things. You got to pay solicitors' fees. You got to pay for, I don't know, not exams, tests done on the house, I don't, reports, and all these different fees that nobody tells you is that the extra thousands of pounds, hundreds and thousands. So it's like, right, okay, I've just managed to cough up all this deposit, and I didn't save for the buffer. Is it like what they say with a car? Like it's better to buy a car with cash than to do it on a monthly, because
Yeah,
from the
fine.
moment the car leaves the parking lot, it's depreciates straight away. So it's the same thing. But I
Yeah,
get it.
I can't stand cars. Kabaddi. The amount of maintenance you got to put in. I'd rather put that money toward a holiday.
Yeah, well, can we go anywhere these days? So, but I
No.
obviously, and I think it depends where you live, because there are some places you live that you cannot do without a car, and I get it. And I think, or I guess all I can say is that just living within your means and living within your earning potential is so important. Because our generation is very, very obviously with social media, you get to watch how other people live, how the other person lives, and the other person is showing you their best highlights or what they can afford that they can do. And yeah, it can make you feel a kind of way if you don't have those things. Apologies for the noise outside. But if you know that's not where you're at, you just be grateful for what you have, because there's someone who's looking at you thinking, I would like what you have. And and you have young women in their 20s or teens who own, bags, designer bags are really expensive. And I'm thinking, I don't know how you got the money, because you're not working. So I don't know how you got this money.
Credit.
Even me, as a full blown adult, I don't have this. So I don't understand how you have this.
Would have
How
got
did
it.
you acquire this?
They probably got it from the parents' credit card. That's how I think they got it.
Yeah, but then or they've borrowed the money if they're in their 20s and they can afford to borrow. I don't know. I don't know. I just think so. That's what I'm saying. It's like, and it's all to be able to look a certain way, but it's like it's all false. It's all false, but we still get caught in the lie sometimes. We still get caught in as in what we see. We think, oh, I want that life, but you know um sometimes you look at someone's picture and it's like if you walked in their shoes, maybe you don't you want the success or you want the money or whatever it is they have, but what they did together, the work they did to get there, You don't even have half the discipline. You don't have a quarter of the discipline it takes. So yeah, all I say is, it's this is just a generation we live in, but you just gotta take things with a pinch of salt. It's easier said than done, I know, but I think some of these things come with a bit of wisdom, and you realize you can't just go by everything that you see, because um you don't live exactly the way they live, and even if you did, everyone's lives are different one way or the other. You get what I mean? Like, people's circumstances are different. But that's a different topic for for another day. Yeah.
Interesting. Your field in accounting. I mean, I'm sure you've come across people that try to live too much above their needs and spending too much than they can afford. Have you seen a lot of that stuff?
So it's more. So we actually work more with small and medium sized businesses. So it's more, I guess, it's really no. I don't get to see that side. So it's not personal accounting. It's just more as in with the business. And I just help more with the back end. But I remember years ago I used to work. I worked in a betting shop, and it was heartbreaking to see how people spend money. Honestly, it was heartbreaking. You would see, so for some people, being in a bet, well, I mean, I don't know what it's called in Australia or anywhere else, but that's what we call them in the UK, betting shop. And they would, obviously for some people it was more like it's more a social place for the older gentlemen. It was more a social gathering. They spend a pound here and there just on a horse on a race. But there were people who spent hundreds and thousands of pounds on the same race, and I'm like, that's a lot of money. And they lost. Sometimes they won, sometimes they lost. And the funny thing is that those who spent like a pound, £2, which is not a lot of money, when the race starts, they're the ones who are shouting the most. And some of the customers who put like 2,000 on the same horse, they just stood there in the corner just watching the race quietly, and if they lost, they just left. But I just thought, you just blew £2,000. Can I have that money? Please, can I have that money?
Oh, shit. That's a
It
lot.
is incredible. I was just shocked. I could not believe my eyes. And then you get people. There was one incident that I just thought, I don't think I can work. I can't. I said to myself, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to taking my salary from people spending frivolously in a way that I would just never do it. I remember this guy. He came and he was on the machines for hours. Stephen, he was playing and playing, and he came to the till because he was trying to collect his winnings, but he lost. I don't know how much he started when he went in there, but he basically won 10 pence. That was what he won. And he came to the till crying because it's like, please, can I get my money back? I've lost my money. And I felt so sorry for him. I was like, I can't give you more than what's on the winning ticket, which was 10 pence, which is less than a pound. And I had to I don't know how much he started with, but that's all he left with. And I thought, I don't think I can take any much more of this. So seeing people spend money like that, it pumps my heart, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how do you reconcile in your mind? You just blew that amount of money. But now that I'm older, I just think, you know what? Obviously there are people who earn tons of money, like loads more money than I've ever seen in my life. And I just think, I know that money obviously doesn't give you happiness. I understand that. I mean, it gets you some of the things you want, but it doesn't fulfill every need. Money doesn't. So I recognize that. And I think if you've got the money, good on you, you know. This life is, yeah, it's a mixed bag. There's lots of things that happen in this world, in this life. So I would say, hey, if you spend the money. You've worked hard. Well, you've worked hard for it. I think where you've worked hard for it, though, I think you're a bit more. I don't know. I think you're a bit more cautious how you spend it. but then buy the things that you want to buy, but also, give to causes if you want. Also just, I don't know. I just think, if you've got it, spend it. I've gone past the days where I'll be like, how can you spend your money on £20,000 bag? I don't know. I mean, if I had that kind of money, would I do that? I don't think so. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't know. Because when you have money, your lifestyle changes, okay? Where you used to be eating baked beans and I don't know, you had a cup of water. When you have a bit of money, you're going to be splashing out a little bit. So I just think, there are many beautiful things that you can see, many beautiful things in this world that you can enjoy. And unfortunately, money is the way to be able to do some of these things. So spend it if you've got it, but if you don't have it, that's okay. You can make do with a lower version of it, and you can still be happy and still enjoy your life. Because there are many people who've seen many things in the world and they're still unhappy. So that's my view on money. I've seen people literally blow their money. And those who just didn't, the older gentlemen, they always made me laugh because in the shop, they'd be the ones shouting the loudest, "Come on, Rosie," or whatever the name of the horse is. And they just put in a pound. It was always hilarious to watch that.
Well, that's the thing, it's money won't make you happy. Look, I've been there, done that. I just found, I had a job and I was earning good money and I was just spending it, impulse buying. But as an entrepreneur now, it's taught me to say, look, hey, let the business fund itself, not me putting money in from my savings into the business.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think even if you're not an entrepreneur and you earn money, that's why I'm saying like being good with money is so important. I think sometimes we're not taught these things. It's experience is what teaches us. It's not necessarily because sometimes our parents didn't know better, to be honest. Our parents didn't know better, and what we saw is what we applied in our lives as well. Um, because you got to learn it from somewhere. But when you've been bitten, like for instance, where you've had money, especially, I learned earlier on, friends and money don't always mix. I learned the hard way that friends and money don't mix. And even like, as you said, impulse buying. Last year was an opportunity to impulse buy loads, but I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to buy things because I'm stressed because of the pandemic or because I'm stuck in this place and I can't go anywhere. Or because, and I've done that where, you're having a bad day. Ladies do this often. I don't know if guys do it. It's emotional shopping. I don't know, you had a bad day at work or you're going through a bad time. You just think, oh, I'm going to buy stuff to make me feel better. So you buy things or it's a sale on and, you think, oh my gosh, is only what, £5 for that, £10 for that. And you end up buying you can buy £50, £60 worth of things. And, it's a waste. You literally you should have just taken the money and just put in the bin. But I said, you know what? Now I'm older, slightly older. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to be good with our money. We're going to learn about investing. We're going to learn how to save and how to not always blow the money just because it's there. You're going to learn what it means to, that you want to be able to support others and give and not necessarily give because you want anything in return, but you're giving money to people who are in need, and that's okay because what a lot of people don't tell you as well is for some people who have a lot of money, it's because actually they've given and they've given in secret. They've given and not told the whole world about it. And there's a lot of people are rich in that way because they've given a lot. And it's one of those, is actually a biblical principle that even many businesses use. People use it, and you don't have to be Christian to apply this. It's one of those things that actually happen. You give and you actually receive more, and it's not necessarily always giving of money. That people think, oh, I'm going to give money, so I may get money back. You may not, but what you get in so many different ways. but sometimes it's also in money as well.
Mm. Yeah, there's a thing too. You got to give to receive as well. Have
Mm,
you heard of that saying as well?
yeah. Yeah. Given, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can, it's so easy. I think the pandemic showed us how selfish we can be on one hand, because I know now people say you gotta, you do this and that for other people. But actually, when there was when there was a scarcity of things and you realize, wow, people didn't care about other people then, okay? When tissue, there was just no more tissue. Now you think, I don't know why people was hoarding tissue, but it's so funny. But anyway, it's very easy to be selfish and self-absorbed and into your own. And what I found is actually, in those moments actually where I could go, woe is me, I don't have this, I don't have that. When I actually look outward and, look to the people around me who may need something. Like I said, if I have a friend who, is a mom who is struggling with time, help her
Mm.
to babysit. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's the smallest things. Give a call to someone who is actually in a bit of a state, not just, oh, everybody look at me and I'm in need. And yeah, you could be in need, but it's just something about giving out to others even when you don't have. And it may not necessarily be financial, but I'm telling you, the rewards, when it does come back to you, it's you think, wow, okay, and actually you find that you are not so focused on what you don't have anymore, because there are always people who who are suffering a bit more than you are at a particular time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just you just gotta be happy with what you got. I think. You know.
That's the key. Happy with be content with what you have. If and because and that's what I'm saying, that they sometimes people who may be in their 20s, I'm in my 30s now, people in their 20s may not realize, oh, I think there's just that pressure. You come out of school and you're trying to figure out your life, and they don't tell you, people don't tell you, you could be in your 30s to trying to figure out your life, you're in your 40s to trying to figure out your life, because life happens to us, and sometimes we have to pivot, we have to change. Things don't um things don't necessarily play out sometimes the way you thought they would. And that's okay. That's okay as well. So you're trying to pin your life in this way, and for some people, exactly as they've planned it is exactly how it's happened. But for some people, that's not how it happens. But you're gonna keep comparing yourself and comparing your life with someone else. Or are you just you're gonna face your lane, you're gonna stay in your lane, and you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And that's
Mm.
just, yeah. They don't always tell you that. They think you come out of school and you think you have these big decisions to make. Where am I gonna study? What am I gonna study if I want to go to uni? Um, when I went to uni, I'm so glad actually, because when I went to uni, the tuition fees were lower at the time. And
Mm.
I actually, they say, oh, you can borrow the money, and when you earn a certain amount, you pay back. Oh yeah. But I wasn't thinking, wait, I'm going to come out with how much debt? What? It didn't phase me at the time. Or that, like I said, being good with money. I remember being in uni and I saw people who had overdraft and credit cards. And I was like, well then, like, how are you thinking you're going to pay this thing back? I don't understand. Like, is this magical money? Because you're a student, full-time student. How are you going to work and pay this? They don't tell you some of these like financial things. And I guess I keep banging on about money a bit because, um, unfortunately, it's what we need to survive. Whether it's little or much, we can definitely survive on little, because I know anyone in the room may have been through times where we didn't have a lot, and we knew how to scrimp and scrape to get by. We knew what we had to do to make sure that ends met. But some of these things they just don't teach us, and I think, and I guess I focus on money a bit more today, because even though it's not the be all end all, that's a revelation in itself, because not a lot of people have reached that revelation in itself, that money doesn't make you happy. Having a lot of it, and I think why we strive sometimes, and why we want to look a certain way on the gram, to flex on the gram, flex on the haters as well, is to look like we've got it together and being able to afford certain experiences, which we see other people doing, going on these exotic holidays or extravagant holidays and all these outfits and things, and you think it's money, so that's why I want it. But actually, you realize, when the fashion has changed or when your body has changed and you don't fit into those things anymore, what you have left is your mind, your soul, your spirit, and you can't take money with you. So yeah, they don't necessarily always tell us these things, but experience teaches us one way or the other.
Well, it's all about life experience at the end of the day, life experience is something you can never ever buy, ever.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Like you said, some things you learn and you think, right, I know not to do that ever again. But if you can learn some of these things from someone else who's done these things, then yeah, I'd rather learn elsewhere some other way.
No, exactly. And I mean, the thing is, look, when you pass away, the house goes back to the government.
Well, if you haven't paid it off, or doesn't or the debt, your debt becomes someone else's worry, isn't it?
No, even if you didn't pay it off, the government's going to take it. Someone's going to
Oh, I
take
thought that if it's paid off, then you can say who inherits it.
it. Mm. Yeah, well, if that's all a legal thing. That's family will. That's
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But there's a story I read in the paper years ago about this woman who was very rich. She was very rich, very, very rich. And when she when she died, she passed her possessions to her dog because she didn't get on with her family. And I
mm,
was like, I wish I was the person who was looking after the dog. I was like, I would be like, let's buy a yacht. Let's buy a bigger house. She passed it on to a beloved dog. A dog. This is not a diss to anybody who loves dogs. This is more the fact that the dog doesn't speak. The dog doesn't understand what is happening to them. The dog don't know that if you just gave the dog, dog food in a bowl, and they're not gonna necessarily care where they live, but she's passed on all her wealth and the house and the money, everything she had, her estate basically, to a dog, and obviously someone is gonna have to look after the dog. So
mm.
really, the person who's inherited it is the person who's looking after the dog. So yeah, I was like, wow, that shocked me. When I read that article, I was like, wow, is this what people are doing out here? She had so much money, and her relatives were probably thinking we're gonna get some, but no, she didn't give any of them, not a single pound. It's like, wow, incredible.
You just got to be happy with who you are, what you have. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely, 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 absolutely. Yeah, and the people that you meet along the way who encourage you, who can lift you up, and who also you lift up as well. Because it's not just always having a group of people around you that lift you up, but you also must be someone that lifts others up.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely. You got to be able to lift people up as well.
yeah, yeah. Not everyone does that, but yeah.
No, you know. But yeah, no, it was a nice episode with you, Kabati.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I thank you for bringing me on, and yes, so it must be very late for you where you are.
About 9:30, about 9:30 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still my midday, so I want to make the most of the day.
Do you work on the weekend, or is it you take a weekend?
I've got weekends to myself. Well, I want to say I'm given what's it? I'm allowed to do what I want on the weekends. It's there's 2 free days I get, but really, yeah, I work Monday to Friday only.
Sydney, Australia is in a full lockdown. Like, I know you guys are back to
Oh. Well, so we've got well, it depends where you are in the UK, but it's they've got Freedom Day, which happened on Monday, I think. So they've opened things up a bit, but yeah, is this the third wave lockdown?
second wave in New South
Second
Wales.
wave.
Melbourne,
Mm.
you know, nothing we can do. I've been slow to get vaccinated.
There's a what? Sorry.
Been slow to get vaccinated.
Mm, mm. So yeah, just try and just keep safe and keep your spirits up. I know it's not easy trying to like you're trying to just navigate the new life, well, what life is throwing at us right now, and yeah, being allowed out a little bit and then back in. I know it can be frustrating, and I know especially for businesses like brick and mortar businesses. I mean, online businesses have boomed. They've just been laughing to the bank. Well, what's happening here in the UK is what they're calling a pingdemic, and what that is, we've got this. For people who have downloaded it, it's called a track and trace. So basically, if where like restaurants are open and people are out and about and doing whatever, or like events, if you've been to a place and someone has contacted or contracted COVID, you get pinged if you're connected to this app, and you have to. What you should do is to self isolate. It doesn't mean that someone who you've been in contact with has COVID, but it could be that someone was in the vicinity or in the area who got COVID, so you get pinged.
Mm.
And so you're supposed to self isolate. But what's happening now is that the inconvenience, so to speak, is that you could be pinged and you have to self isolate, but it's affecting um, things like the airport industry. So there isn't staff there, or not a lot of staff there in supermarkets as well, because people are being pinged a lot. And like shops and restaurants. So it means that there's less staff. If there's less staff, it means that things can't run as smoothly. So what we're facing now is a pingdemic. So even though there are a lot of people who've been able to be vaccinated. Obviously, there's the Delta variant, and then there's also a rise in cases as
Mm.
well at the moment. So people are like, how are you allowing people out and about where there's rising cases? I don't understand. So we don't know. And they've just opened nightclubs as well, actually, which is, which has been closed over like the last 16 to 18 months or whatever. So that's what's happening at the moment. it's um it's crazy.
No, it is, but I was talking to a meditation teacher on my show, and it's just gonna be like something that's just gonna pass. It'll be history soon. And just move.
Well, yeah, I mean, whenever it is, I don't know. But in the meantime, it's, as you said, in the meantime, it's here to stay. And as you said, it's just navigating it. How different governments or different people deal with it. That's what we got to navigate. Whether we like what they're doing or we don't like it, as you said. But how we, even though life is happening to us, how we navigate that, or how we pull through is important, and what we do to navigate that is important. And as you said, it's as you say, for us, it is the state of mind, and just how we go through daily. Because, like I said, I know for people who are having to be pulled out, like they're allowed out and then you have to stay in again. Can be very frustrating for people. And so yeah, just be as safe as you can, and keep your mind and spirits up for sure on that, because I know that that can't be easy going through that at this point in time, especially like people. I know you're an entrepreneur. Are you a full-time entrepreneur, or do you work
Part-time.
to support yourself? Sorry.
I'm a part-time entrepreneur, so I work for myself part-time. So,
Okay. What do you do part time? Has COVID affected what you do as well?
well, I started. It's all online anyway.
Okay.
So, and I love what I do. So
Is that
it's fun.
just the YouTube podcasting, or is there other things that you're doing as well?
Podcasting, YouTubing, we got YouTuber as well. That's time consuming too.
Yeah.
You know when you,
Yeah.
and then the rest is just time for myself, Kabadi, like yoga,
Yeah.
meditation,
Yeah. So
exercise.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. So it's keeping those things up. Because yeah, I know it can get frustrating mentally and on the body, and it's a stress that we don't, how we absorb that stress, or yeah, it is important as well, because like I said, for some people it's stress eating, and I think I know I did a bit of that last year without realizing it. And then I checked my waistline and I thought, no, we need to do something about this. So yeah, so I can't imagine, yeah, just the frustrations, but yeah, keep yourself up, Stephen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I guess to you, Sarah, as well. I know you've been listening. Just I don't know what
Sarah,
the
did
situation is like where
you
you
say?
are. Hmm?
I was just gonna try to invite Sarah on stage. Hello, Sarah. You there?
Hi guys, I'm just
Hi.
Hi.
listening you guys.
Yeah,
Hi.
hi. Yeah, just I know it's not easy, but trying to find ways to keep motivated and keep yourself up is so important. And I know that our generation now is very we're very mental health aware. We're aware a lot more. We don't just absorb the stresses like when it's work, like you work, and like you're tired, but you think, oh, it's what you do. Is like now, I feel like we're realizing now. No, I need to take a few days out, or I'm being, whatever I'm looking at online is not doing me any good, so I'm gonna switch off from it, or I'm gonna unfollow or whatever, and that's good. And I know there's also a time where a lot of us have been like searching as well, and searching where there is a meaning of life. And I know a lot of people that I've been speaking to in my life have been in that place, definitely, as a result of this pandemic. So that's something. Just be encouraged, guys. Whatever it is that you're facing, or how things are looking in your country or in your state, or it's not easy, but we're gonna pull through. We've pulled through the major part last year when it was unknown, and now we just have to pull through again as we try and navigate how this is all played out, and when decisions are made, and how that affects us, and how we're gonna respond to that.
Yeah, Sarah, you got anything to add on to that?
Not really guys, sorry. I'm kinda shy.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
It, it,
just safe. Very safe.
we,
I know I talk a lot, but don't let that
no,
fool you. This isn't easy. So welcome for coming up, because I know it's not easy to come into a conversation that's already gone on. But every opinion is valid here. So don't feel like whatever you say, even if it's been said before, you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, you talk beautifully, and I'm still learning English, to be honest. So I'm here to also like listen you guys, and because I don't have these, how can I say, I don't get in touch with so many different accents in English. So, and you guys like, I just love it, your point of view, to be honest. And I was just here.
Thank you. glad that you're here.
Yeah, but it's the important thing is, to just be brave and come on stage and just this is a great podcast, and not let fear get into you. Fear, fear is the one thing I can't stand is fear. Fear, fear. How do you
Yeah,
cope with?
yeah. There's this acronym for fear. I don't know if you may have come across it, but fear, basically, the acronym is false evidence appearing real. And you're right. Fear is such a liar. Fear is, and we've all experienced it, and continue to experience it because it has a way of rearing its head every now and again. Um, and I'm in a space now where I'm learning to face fears, and it's not been easy. I talked on my podcast a few weeks ago. So I learned how to drive years ago, but even though I passed, I hadn't driven in 8 years since I passed. And so I
Yeah.
just got myself a little runaround car because I need one now. I've done without one since I passed, but now where I live, you just need a car. So I'm like, fine, 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 fine. So I got one, and obviously I can drive, right? I passed my exam that says I can drive, but it's been years, so I don't know. Like I had to rethink about what road markings mean and what the signs mean, and I was very nervous even getting the car, and I got the car, and then where I live, there's a little like fence, and I was afraid to drive out of the fence for fear of scratching the car. And
Mm.
eventually I got out of the car, I got my car out, and then I was getting on the roads, just driving around the area, just to get my bearings. And I said to cause the car sat there for after I bought the car sat down for about 2 weeks. It just wasn't driven. And I thought, if I let this is gonna, this is gonna be a year. And I'm like, I can't do this now because I'm paying for insurance, I'm paying tax on it. The car has to be driven. So I started off just coming out where the fence was, because I was afraid of scratching the car, and everything was going well. And then one day, I started going on routes. I need to learn how to drive to certain areas and come back. So I did that. And then one day I had an incident. The fence that I had been afraid of scratching, I scratched the car, and I scratched the car good. When I mean I scratched the car good, I cried tears. I cried
Oh,
tears.
yeah.
And I was like, that's it. I'm not driving now. I was doing way too much who was I trying to think I should be driving every day to gain confidence? It sounds really silly. I know, hearing it, and it sounds really silly, but for me, that was exactly where my mind was at. And I thought, that's it now. I'm just not going to drive I'm not, the car's going to sit there. And I thought, you know what? This is not, you cannot let this one incident. That's why you got an old car. That's what your first car is for. Because obviously I'm older, like I said before, I'm in my 30s. I thought I should know better. I should have turned the wheel. I shouldn't have been so enthusiastic that I drove. Who asked me to drive where I drove and all this stuff? I was, really hard on myself. And I was like, you know what? You are going to make mistakes, and I don't like making mistakes, and not a mistake that was that costly. So I was like, you need to get out. And so after a couple of days, and I started stop feeling sorry for myself. I'm like, you just got to get out there. You've made a mistake. Okay, you can't do that again. So just get out there. You just got to do it. At least you're okay. You had an incident, but your life is okay, and it is just a car. And you know what? You will get another car eventually, but that's why you didn't spend so much money on this car. So I had to talk myself down. And then I just got on it. This happened like a few weeks ago. So I know that feeling of fear where it can grip you. It can just get you to that place where you would much rather just not move. But even in not moving, you're stopping yourself from experiencing certain things that you could. I mean, this is just a very small, and it may seem like a very, very silly, very silly incident and very silly thing, but it's a reality for me. If it's something this small, how much more on bigger things in life? Yeah, so that's me.
That's exactly right. You know, and I think yeah, that's interesting.
In
That's
what way?
interesting, actually.
And I don't think it's silly, to be honest. Like, makes total sense.
Okay. Thanks. Because I kept going back and forth in myself, and I was like, I know it's just a car, and it wasn't just about the car. It was just the fact that I was so like every day. So basically, to build that confidence in myself, once the thought came, you have to drive. Once the thought came, you should drive today. I took it. Before fear came in and thought, oh, maybe how you gonna come out? Before any other thought came in. And that's how I was building my confidence. And I realized that even in building confidence, you can still have a setback. Something could happen to knock it. And it's like, okay, it's like a baby who's trying to walk, right? Like they fall down all the time, but they're not thinking, oh, I can't get this right. I'm just going to sit down. They just keep going. And so I just thought to myself, okay, like it's a setback and it may seem minor. It's a first world problem, but it's a problem that's affecting me, but it's still a form of confidence. And I know fear could play out. Sometimes you're fearful because you're not confident in something. And in this instance, that's what my fear was rooted in, not being confident. And um, I just thought to overcome it, I need to overcome the fear that I'm going to fail at it because there's a chance that I will. At this, okay, I haven't, I've got my P plates to show I'm a new driver. And yeah, I know that I know experienced drivers can get annoyed by these things. But even in those situations where I've done something wrong, like I can kick myself, or people could be honking at me, or can be cussing me while they're driving past me and looking at me funny. It's like, just take a breath. Don't allow their pressure to become your pressure and your reality, or become your insecurity that you're not good, because you've indicated that, okay, I am not as confident in this, and that's okay. You will get confident. You will, but just to overcome the fear so that you can now be rooted in a place of confidence, you need to do the thing that makes you think you shouldn't do it because you're not good enough, because, or whatever it is, dot, 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 it is for you. So yeah, that's what I had to say about fear.
Exactly. Like, fear. And what do you have to say about fear, Sarah? How do you overcome fear?
Mm, I feel like it's not overthinking so much about things, as you guys already said, because once you start to thinking so much, I think you get like stressed out. It's really overwhelming, I think. So I try to avoid like thinking so much.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's fear is all it is false evidence appearing real, and we can move on from fear.
Mm. Yeah, I like what you said, Sarah, just about overthinking. Because I said in my mind, I've played it up to the utmost. I've played up a scenario to the utmost, and it could be with anything. I need to tell my boss I've done something wrong. And fear grips you, which is because when you're operating in fear, you're not thinking rationally anymore. All of a sudden, you want to lie. All of a sudden, you want to do certain things that, we've done this as kids, right? You've done something wrong and you think, I don't want my boss to scold me or tell me off, or I don't want him to be disappointed, or I don't want her to be disappointed. I don't want them to think less of me, or I don't want my parents to punish me for this thing I did. Do you get what I mean? Or to tell my friend, something I've done wrong to them, or, it's like, I don't want, whatever it is. And you start acting funny. It's like you start telling lies. You don't like lies, but now you're telling them to protect yourself. So it's all the different things that fear represents is standing in the way. It's like whether it's pride, or whether it's as you said, like you overthink this, and because you're not sure of what the outcome is going to be. And when it's unknown, that's also why you can be fearful, because it's unknown. And so you play up all these things. And sometimes when you've gone through, you think, actually, I don't know why I thought the way I did, because it didn't turn out that way. Or maybe it did turn out the way you thought it was going to be. It's like, okay, well, at least I did it now. So on to the next thing. Okay. And yeah. So
Interesting. Yeah. Is there any exercises to overcome fear? Because that's what we're conditioned.
I don't know. It sounds cheesy for me to just learning to do it. Whatever it is. I don't know. I think it definitely starts with the mind. It's a mindset, and I think changing the mindset on it. Like I said, it could be, and I think fear plays out in different things in our lives. So I don't know what it could be in anyone in your lives, and it like I said, it could be with anything. We talked about podcasting. I talked about the fear that I felt about not doing it in the beginning. How am I gonna sound? I don't like my voice. I don't have this. I don't have that. What if it doesn't work out or whatever? But in you thinking, it starts with the mind, because I've thought a certain way already. But if that's changed, then how much more in acting from a place where your mindset is different. I think you could overcome that fear in that particular thing, and you find that your mind is on different is like the way you think about certain things in different aspects of your life. You begin to understand as you face certain things. So some things you don't even know is a fear until you're standing right before that thing. Obviously, if it's I don't know, like I'm not saying, like I don't like creepy crawlies. I'm not sure if I say it's a fear, but I'm not gonna go stand in a, I don't know, in a tub of spiders and creepy crawlies. I won't be doing that. This isn't celebrity, get me out of here. But I'm just saying that if it's something that is stopping you from doing something or for becoming something, there's just something on the other side of that. And I don't think we necessarily always think of the other side as just, you just can't get past. And I think it has to do with the mind. I think so. I think change of mindset is definitely something that has to do with overcoming.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's I don't know why we have fear. Apparently, fear is normal for some reason.
I think it's because we have this mechanism in our minds, like to survive, And I think fear is a thing that you feel because we all are humans, like human beings, so we need to survive somehow. And I think it's a kind of mechanism that allows you to, whoa, this is dangerous, It is something I need to be safe. I need to run of it, I think it's a natural thing, but sometimes it's not rational, And sometimes it's pretty much like something you need to run out of. Like I remember me like in situations that I just heard this feeling of fear and just let me get over here. This is not a safe place. This is not like, and just because I listened, and so we need to analyze when is a fear that like you need to let me save, let me get out of here, or it's just like a irrational thing because it's a new thing, it's a thing you never tried before, so you get like you overthink, and then you have this big fear that is not rational at all. So I think we need to analyze because for me it's a natural thing.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. You just want to take a day at a time and just take small steps in overcoming fear and doubt and anxiety as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like what you said, Sarah. Just, I think it's natural to us because you said we're human, and it just shows our frailty, our imperfection, and yeah, um, uh, what's the term? Perfectly imperfect. But as you said, sometimes they're rooted in things. I think sometimes that fear could be things we don't understand, and
Mm.
it definitely doesn't also make us act rational. Um, and and as you said, overthinking things sometimes. Um, but yeah, obviously, and as you said as well, Sarah, but just being a source, like a mechanism to protect ourselves. Um, and sometimes that's helpful, as you said. As a woman, you're in a place, the place is looking a bit funny. Think, yeah, okay. From what I can see, I don't think this is safe. I may be wrong, but it's best if I it's best if I vacate this place so that I can then, and as soon as, you come out there, you're okay. Yeah, the fear is gone and you do whatever you're doing. So sometimes those are things that are um things that things that we've put up also to protect ourselves. And fear can become that thing that we use to protect us when really is the thing that should be knocked down. It just, becomes it becomes a fortress or some kind of tower that we build ourselves around. And sometimes, yeah, fear could be, you could operate, there's good fear, I guess, and then there's a fear that actually holds us back.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is so interesting. Why fear can hold us back and doubt and anxiety as well. Yeah, but fear is a normal thing, you know.
We face it daily. I think, I don't know, maybe not face it daily, but that's why I said sometimes or it's something that, and it could be, uh, I don't know, maybe for someone it's a fear of speaking, a fear of singing, or fear of acting, and it could have stemmed from something that was said, something that happened when, when you were younger, and it just became a little thing in the corner, but somehow it's something that has navigated your life where I can't do this in public. Or maybe something did happen. You did speak or you did try and overcome it. And then, I don't know, because all the eyes were on you. This hasn't happened to me. I know this happened to someone. So it may sound like it's happened to me, but it hasn't. They had a fear of speaking. And when they tried to overcome it, it was a school play or something. And then the nerves came and and then they peed on themselves. And,
Mm.
that came with its own, like, oh my gosh, the embarrassment. And so it sort of stopped them from doing it. And yeah, but and that was when they were younger, in the teenage years, and now they're a bit older. Just something like they speak now. Actually, they speak very well, but it was something that it took them a while to overcome in that respect.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. There's also the fear of not having enough as well. Is one thing that can be frustrating too.
I guess it depends on what you don't have enough of. Is there something like, is it time, money? Is it, I don't know, not enough of, like, within yourself to be able to do something? Is that what you mean by fear of not
Yeah, fear of not having enough, fear of not having enough money as well, not enough time.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's where I would always ask where that is rooted from, because that's why I was saying that. Some of these things, when it comes to fears, is rooted in something. Is rooted from something, and until the root is dealt with, like that plant or that it has a hold. It has a hold there. It's something that you can't go far from because it's always in your peripheral or in your vision somewhere. Like you think you've gone past it, but actually you look and you can still see that fear stool or whatever I call it a stool, but it's not far behind. So if it's a fear of time or a fear of not having enough time or fear of not having money, it's probably, I feel like that's rooted in something, and
Mm,
until that root is dealt with, it will always be a constant thing, and it means that what you're doing as a result of that is out of fear, and when you're operating out of fear, you're not as in that is your daily thinking. Is now how you think, how you speak, what you see. Then it's not necessarily rational, the right way to
mhm,
look at it. So, that's where I would come from in that angle.
mhm, exactly. Do any of you meditate?
Not as much as I should. Not as much as I should.
Mm. Yeah, meditation's good.
I used to, but I need to come back, like meditating because it's very good, you know. And I was meditating just like I have been meditating for, let me see, some 5 months, 6 months, and just 5 minutes a day. It was very
Mhm,
positive for me, you know. And I got like in control. I felt like more aware, you know, about my feelings, about things that I sometimes I do automatically. Oh
mhm,
wow, like I have now a space that I can see, and I can see in another perspective, you know.
mhm,
So it's very good, but I need to come back because it's a very good habit, to be honest, and I'm not doing anymore.
mhm. Yeah, look, it's you gotta keep doing it daily, at least, in the morning, evening, and afternoon as well. That's what you've got to do, and it's all about building a discipline as well. Is one thing you've got to do in meditation. But yeah, yeah, no, it's always great having Sarah and Kibati on the show. But this is the thing in business and in careers in general is fear is over. It can can either make you or break you, and it's hard. It can be hard to overcome the courage with fear as well. It's just more important to overcome fear, doubt, and anxiety. But Sarah and Kabadi, I want to thank you for coming on the Stephen Shiels radio show today. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for.
You're welcome, and feel free to join whenever I go live, and yeah, swing by. All right.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes, definitely. I hope to see you again in another room
Will do.
or this room, Sarah.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.